Okay, here we are. We're going to do a couple of structural floors in our Revit model. We're going to have some concrete, and we're going to have concrete on steel deck. Changing your steel deck profile from a 50 by 150 to a 38 by 150 was one of our activities, so hopefully you've done that. If not, I'll just quickly talk about it a bit. When you create this floor assembly, the metal deck, the structural deck, has a 0 thickness, and then the concrete is 102, which is actually the total thickness including the metal deck. So what we need to do is go over into profiles under families in the project browser and put it on, make a duplicate of the 50 and change it to a 38. That's how you get the correct profile of the metal decking for our project. And we'll put this one on the second floor of our building. The main floor will be just a concrete floor, so we'll have concrete on the main. Second floor will use metal deck, and then the roof will use metal deck, but it won't have concrete on top of it. So those are going to be all 3 types. So let's go and put F3, I called it, on here. And what we have to note is the span direction needs to be perpendicular to the direction of the joists. And that's it. You can always adjust the final shape of it later. So here we are. I'm going to go up to my second floor structural plan so that I can see all of the joists. That way I know which direction they're running. And I go to the floor tool, and in there I called it F3. You can call it whatever you want. I'm just going to go into edit and show you the structure. So it's 102 thick, cast in place concrete on metal deck. And then down here, this metal deck is using this profile, 38 by 150. If you don't have that in your file, it's because you didn't do that yet, which means you got to back all the way out of the command, and you go over to your project browser and look in families, and just a sec, make that a bit smaller, and you'll want to go into profiles, and you'll see M-form deck non-composite. You'll see the 50 by 150, and you'll right click and duplicate it, call it 38 by 150, and that doesn't just create it, that just names it. And then you have to go down into here and change the HR to 38, so that when you create your floor and you call it whatever, there's my F3, when you're in there you select the metal deck layer and you tell it to use this profile, 38. Okay, so now I've got it all, the assembly created, and all I really need to do to start off is I'm just going to go from the grid line intersection of that column down to here. Later I'll put holes in this for stairwells and things, but this is a good start. What you'll notice is that is incorrect. The span of the little metal deck ribs needs to be perpendicular. So I just go up here, click on span direction, click on the vertical line, and the span now changes. Okay, so everything's good. It is right at the second floor level, no height offset. Green check mark to finish. And I now have the metal deck on there. I'm going to put a section marker so you can see the difference. If I look at, just a sec, this section went way too far. There we go. So if I look at this section and I set the detail level to fine and I zoom in, you can't see the profile of the metal deck because it's running this direction, perpendicular to these guys. If I go to this section, zoom in on the second floor, you should be able to see the metal deck sitting right on top of your joist. Okay, that's good. That's That's the second floor. The next one you want to do could be the main floor. I called it F2 on this one. You name it whatever. Call it main floor, whatever. This one is just concrete, and it's 230 thick, 225, 230, something like that. Super easy. This one, go to the main floor. That's my grade beam. So I'm going to go to the floor. I'm going to switch this to an F2, nice thick concrete. It's going to go right in at the main floor. And I will use my grid lines because they happen to be right on the inside of my grade beam. Okay, that floor is going to be full of rebar, which we don't draw. That's a structural thing. There it is for now. Click, and let's take a peek. Good, so now I've got my floors. We'll do the roof on another day because I want to talk all about sloping it to roof drains and stuff like that. So there's your floors.